2 years. I've been doing YouTube seriously for over 2 years. Whilst my first year was sloppy at best and saw minimal growth, 2024 has gotten me results I could have never expected. And to celebrate such a massive year, I've decided to hold a Q&A. And like I did last year, I will also reflect and give away trivia about the videos I've made this year. R_Terra asks, what do you think of the cocoa? I mean, it's a big nut, even though it's not a nut, it's actually a fruit. No, but if you're talking about Coco from Ongezellig, I think she's a pretty fun character.
Wat een leuk karakter.
I think having such a complete opposite of the protagonist, someone who is popular but also very sweet and kind, I think it does wonders, and I don't think Ongezellig would even work as well without her. And funny enough, she's actually got me into South African history. Ralf Roest asked, in welk land wil jij wonen of vind je het hier wel prima? Ik vind het hier in Nederland wel prima, maar als ik echt zou moeten verhuizen zou ik wel naar Oostenrijk of Ierland gaan. Also, by the way, I know this guy IRL and he would not stop asking people to subscribe to me. Very similar to this guy who keeps commenting beterschap on everything I post. En hij vraagt welk niveau ik heb gedaan op de middelbare school. VMBO-K en de K staat voor kankermogol. And he also asked what editing software I use. At first, like 3 years ago, I used iMovie, but I eventually switched to Videoleap. Mainly because I found that Videoleap just had way more to work with. I'd imagine I'll eventually switch to Premiere Rush because I got the school license, but I'll need to get the hang of it first. Ricky asked, Halo or Call of Duty? Battlefield. Snufferpuffer asked, are you the original creator of Brainrot? I am not, but I know who might be. You. Yeah, I'm actually friends with this guy IRL, and when we were in middle school we made these videos in class that were just a bunch of shit thrown in iMovie. Like, this was Brainrot before Brainrot was invented. Whilst he deleted all his, mine are still up, and if you're curious, here's a taste.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Get Wi-Fi anywhere you go.
Hold up.
It's peak, is it not? Snufferpuffer also asked, did you like high school and what games did you play at the time? High school was fine, made some good friends, did some fun stuff, it was alright. As for the games I played at that time, tons. Battlefield 5, Half-Life, Call of War, TF2, like a lot of games. Thoughts on Wings of Redemption? I don't know what that is, let me look it up real quick. I do not care. You could not pay me to give a shit. Internet drama in general is some of the most inconsequential shit I could think of. Like, besides my initial reaction to this shit, I do not care. No, I do not give a shit about a hack to a scam. You can suck my left one. I promise you, if I ever get into internet drama, it's gonna be for something cool, like being involved with the mafia or something. Next question. Favorite arthropod and Garden Warfare main? I think crabs and mantises are really cool. I don't have a Garden Warfare main, although there are characters that I gravitate towards. That being Law, Reg and Toxic P, Power and Fire Chomper, Bandit, Future and Fire Cactus, Tank Commander and Camo Ranger, Electrician, Chemist and All and Cricket Star. This next one is a political one, Ukraine and Russia, Palestine or Israel, and SDF or Turkish-backed proxies. When it comes to the Russo-Ukrainian conflict, Ukraine, like, I just can't justify supporting Russia in any way, shape or form. Something I find pretty funny about this war is that I've consistently been wrong about just about everything. I'd imagine Ukraine would last like a couple months at most, but we're nearing 3 years now. I expected an invasion by Ukraine into Russia would end in absolute failure, but no, it didn't. I am not gonna make a prediction about how it's going to end because I can imagine it going any way. When it comes to Gaza, Palestine, again I have a hard time justifying what Israel does when it's very clearly beyond the point of self-defense. Assuming the last one is about Syria, I'm not sure. Assad may have been an absolute bastard, but at least you know who and what he is. The rebels seem to me like a bit of an unknown quantity, because for all we know these guys could be the next Al-Qaeda, but we'll see which way the wind blows. Also, the Assad memes are really funny. Do you like the Metro and Stalker series? They seem interesting, but I've never played them. What is something to know when going to the Netherlands? The weather is complete shite. Also, don't go to Amsterdam. Go to like fucking Westveen or something. Another political question by Mr. UK Man, which essentially means, what do you think of the Nazis? I think they're stupid. No, really, everything a new Nazi could complain about in the modern world is indirectly caused by Hitler being a dumbass. He left Germany divided instead of unified, helped spread communism all over the world, and gave Europe an incentive to allow foreign workers in the country, and completely destroying nationalism's reputation in the West. And not to forget the ethnic cleansing, of course. It's an ideology based on paranoia and egocentrism, and they fucked themselves in the ass by believing that they were better than others. So my answer is bad, both in morals and in execution. And Mr. UK Man also asked if I have a crush on him.
What are you, fucking gay?
This guy asked, do you love me? I love all my Mujahideen brothers except for the previous guy. Favorite gun in any game? Either the Mega Cannon from Garden Warfare 1, the HD shotgun from Half-Life, or the Type 99 Arasaka from Battlefield 5. But if we're talking about best, probably the P silencer. Either that or the Z4 crossbow. Anyone who has played Garden Warfare 1 will tell you how disgusting these two are. What are your third and fourth languages? And what's the coldest day you've ever been in? That's a good question. I live in a part of the Netherlands that has its own official language called Frisian. My family isn't Frisian by origin, but by nature of getting it taught in school and hearing it a bunch, I eventually picked up on it. Kind of. Like, I can understand it, but having an actual conversation is another story. It always takes me an extra second to process a Frisian sentence than it would a Dutch sentence. And that makes it a lot harder to actually respond to that person in Frisian. And most of the time I automate back to Dutch. My bastardized Frisian funnily enough resembles the type of Frisian they speak in Leeuwarden, the province capital. And even funnier is recently I've actually developed a bit of a regional accent when it comes to my Dutch. All in all, Frisian is a pretty fun language. And I consider it my third behind, of course, Dutch and English. As for my fourth language, German, I guess. I'm pretty decent at German, albeit far from fluid. Like, I can order something at a restaurant and I can ask a couple questions, but having an actual conversation is impossible for me. But like Frisian, I also consider it a fun language and it's probably my favorite high school subject.
Danny nimmt die Verfolgung auf.
Junge Frau, nicht so schnell, ihr Mentos!
As for coldest day I've ever been in, whatever the coldest day was after November 1st, 2007. And the final question is, and this is a great one, what's your favorite dinosaur and what's the reason for your goofy profile picture? I don't have a favorite dinosaur, although if you were to ask Kid me, he'd probably say Spinosaurus. As for my profile picture, one day me and the other guy I talked about were sitting in healthcare class. We had to watch an educational video about smoking and at one point they used this to represent nicotine. I turned to my mate and said it looked like SCP-173, googled it and found this. And I've adopted it as my profile picture ever since. I eventually drew over it to give it some expression and here we are. It's a funny image that just kind of stuck around. And I think it's funny how often people point it out. Kind of hoped for better questions, but unfortunately this is what you guys asked. But with that out of the way, when it comes to my favorite video of the year, there are plenty of contenders. My Ongezellig review is probably the first that comes to mind. God, this video, man. I still remember the night I decided I wanted to make this. I don't think I've ever been this dedicated to anything. I spent months thinking of jokes, background music and observations, and I truly feel it was all worth it. It came out almost exactly how I wanted it to. Background music is very important for my videos. And this is a prime example. The background music I used when going into detail about Maya and Coco were chosen before I even began writing the script. I remember I was listening to Operation Burial whilst thinking about their relationship and how resentful Maya is. That fully convinced me I should make a video about Ongezellig. And I feel like most of my choices when it came to background music still fit really well. I thought the jokes I made were really good, even though the majority of the audience probably didn't understand them. It has some of my favorite editing I've ever done, and I said just about everything I wanted to say about Ongezellig at the time. My only real problem, as well as everyone else's problem, was the audio quality. It was pretty inconsistent, and because of that I'm considering remaking this one, although I'm still very happy with how it turned out. Another contender for favorite video of the year is the video I've made about Maya's diary. Just because, well, I think it's a very solid video overall. And it was also stupid successful, so that probably is a contributing factor. However, just because a video is successful doesn't mean I like it. Dutch Degenerates is a video that did really well, but it hasn't stuck with me the same way others have. And to be honest, my favorite video of the year is probably Countries That Fell Off. Even though it was the worst performing video in about 8 months, for some reason I just feel like I really nailed this one, despite the editing and audio mistakes. My least favorite video of the year is no doubt Things That Annoy Me Part 3. Videos like this are kind of boring. People don't watch my videos for me, it's usually the topic I'm talking about, so when half of these videos are me talking about shit nobody else but me cares about, I can very easily imagine why nobody watched these. These videos aren't very fun to make and just kind of exist because they're easy and convenient. If there's one thing I've learned about doing YouTube is that it's very unpredictable. I've made plenty of videos where I thought they'd get a decent amount of views only to be met with barely anything. But at the same time, I've made videos that I would have never suspected would do so well. Probably the biggest example of this would be the video I made about Blackaroony. Like, considering both him and me were pretty small channels at the time, I'm surprised it even made it past 100. Also, what's weird about Blackaroony is that I heavily criticized him for sounding like a complete cunt, but in the stream where he reacted to me, he actually acted way more approachable, and it made me feel kind of bad for being so aggressive. But I still largely stand by what I said, although I'd probably phrase it differently in hindsight. The video about Maya's diary was a pretty unexpected hit considering I thought it would get like 2k at most. And the video that I consider my first real success was only my second video of the year. The one I made about Dr. Skipper. Also, by the way, this video was put together really quickly. Usually these videos are planned months in advance, but this was only released a couple weeks after the video I was talking about. Looking back on it now, I actually think that Dr. Skipper's video is way worse than anything made by Blackaroony. As obnoxious as he was, Blackaroony actually seemed like a passionate fan that just had really strong opinions. Dr. Skipper was just a fucking proletarian tourist that said the biggest bullshit you can imagine and thought he could get away with it with the worst editing style I've ever seen. But back to the topic of video performance, even the videos that didn't do so well still did far better than most of my videos from the previous year. I generally consider my current subscriber amount as a break-even point, and by that metric only 4 out of the 11 videos total that I made didn't cross that. The growth in general was also just massive this year.
And you know what else is massive?
I ended last year with about 120 subs. I now have over 10 times as much subscribers as I did back then, and over triple the amount of views I did last year. And unlike last year, I'm incredibly happy with where this is coming from. Most of the growth I got last year came from this. A, at the time, 2-year-old video that didn't represent the current state of the channel in the slightest. And whilst most of my growth this year also came from a singular video, it was a video that I think is really solid and it represented the channel way better. And even without it, I'd still be incredibly happy, because the rest performed just as good, if not better, than last year. And I genuinely feel like I actually earned what I got. How do I end this video? Got it. Hey Gimpy. Dat is een hartstikke mooie day. No, your eyes do not deceive you. It is I, Martin, in the flesh. You know, funny enough, people always say I look like Jaraski. Kinda hoped for better weather conditions, but fuck it, this shit's due. That's all, yeah. When I made that 2023 reflection video, I said that I was going into the new year with ambition and optimism. Unfortunately for me, 2024 has not been kind to me on a personal level. I started this year absolutely miserable, and whilst my condition has improved significantly, I still struggle with significant mood swings. But when it comes to YouTube, 2024 has been an unprecedented success. If you told me how 2024 was gonna play out ahead of time, I would have never believed you. In October 2023, I hit 100 subs. If you couldn't tell by the video I made about that, I wasn't very excited, despite how big a deal it might seem to some people. I said that my real goal was 1000 subscribers, but I expected it would take a couple more years to get there. But as it turns out, a little more than one. I can do this for a living now. Godverdomme. I can do this for a living now. I can get paid for doing something I like. That is insane to me. I don't think I've ever explained why it is that I do YouTube. When I was 12, my class talked about a school reunion of sorts. And for some reason that has really stuck with me. And for as long as it has, I wanted to have something to show for myself. And YouTube has become that thing. YouTube has given me purpose. It's something that I enjoy, it's something that allows me to talk about my interests, and it's a huge source of confidence and pride. And to see it come together, it's almost a dream come true. And I can safely say I am going into the new year once again with ambition and optimism. But before I end this video, I would like to give a quick thank you to Maufu. Maufu was the first person to ever consistently show up to my videos. And when you're starting out, that means a lot. And I also want to say a massive thank you to anyone that interacted with my channel. Whether you're subscribed, only showed up once, or just wanted to post a hate comment, thank you for being undoubtedly the brightest part of the year. And as always, this has been Martin. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you another time.
To be or not to be?